All right, welcome to the Explainer. What we're diving into today is, well, it's a set of legal documents that make one of the most incredible claims I have ever seen. It's a story filled with secret pacts, forgotten royalty, and a trust fund valued in the hundreds of trillions of dollars. So let's get into it. So where does this all begin? You might be surprised to hear it starts very, very recently. In November of 2023, a whole series of notarized documents, like this special power of attorney, were filed. Now, at first glance, they just look like, standard legal paperwork. But what they claim to do is set in motion a process to control a fortune of almost unimaginable size. The language inside these papers describes a transfer of authority over wealth on a scale that's it's hard to even wrap your head around. And it immediately brings up the huge question that we're going to explore. What is the real story behind this incredible claim? Okay, so to really understand the whole picture, we've got to start with what's happening right now, with the legal framework these documents are trying to build today. So if you boil it all down, the 2023 agreements are pretty straightforward in their setup. You've got a grantor, that's the person who supposedly owns everything, a man named Absalon F. Borci Jr., and he is giving a trustee the complete legal power to manage assets that he claims are worth over $500 trillion. And here's another key piece of the puzzle from that same month, a trust asset deposit management agreement. This is the thing that makes it all official, so to speak. It creates the actual legal vehicle, the trust itself, that's designed to hold and manage all of this immense claimed wealth. And this, of course, brings us to the most important question of all. Who is this guy at the center of everything? And where on earth does this claim to an unprecedented fortune actually come from? Well, the source of this entire claim isn't a bank statement or a stock portfolio. It's a family tree. The whole foundation for this fortune is built on a claim of royal bloodline. And this is where it gets really interesting. The documents use this very specific title over and over for Mr. Borci, the fourth filial heir agnate of the Borci Royal Clan. Now, that's not just some fancy made-up name. It's meant to be a formal, legal declaration of his inherited status and his right to this massive fortune. The story these papers tell traces this lineage all the way back, through Spanish land grants in the Philippines to an ancestor they name as King Honorio Borci. And get this, the documents describe him as a one-time emperor of Rome. Yeah, you heard that right. This is where they claim the historical root of the entire fortune began. What this slide does so well is it just lays out the timeline they're trying to build. They're attempting to draw a direct, unbroken line from these historical papers, like a 1950 letter they say is from Chiang Kai-shek, all the way to the trust agreements that were just filed last year. So, to understand where the assets themselves supposedly came from, we've got to follow that line backwards. The modern claims are built on a foundation of much older and allegedly very secret agreements. Okay, let's peel back another layer and look at the history they claim is behind all these trillions. The story, as they tell it, goes all the way back to the chaotic years right after World War II. This document right here, this is the absolute cornerstone of their historical claim. It's dated August 11th, 1950, and it has this really bizarre title, the Bilateral Myananized Yield Breakthrough Successor Agreement. According to the trust files, this is the pact that started it all. And you'll see this stamped right on the pages, cloaked for secrecy. The whole narrative here is that this wasn't just any old agreement. It was a super confidential pact that was intentionally hidden from the public for decades. So you gotta ask, who was in on this secret deal? And this is where the story takes another turn into the unbelievable. The list of people who supposedly signed it is just astonishing. I mean, just look at this page. It claims to have the signatures of U.S. President Harry Truman and General Dwight Eisenhower, and then right next to them, the leader of Communist China, Mao Zedong, and his biggest enemy, Chiang Kai-shek. The document presents a world where all these bitter rivals and global allies secretly got together and signed the same piece of paper in 1950. It's wild. Okay, now let's talk about the money itself. And I have to warn you, the numbers detailed in these documents are on a completely different planet from anything you've probably heard before. For example, one delivery receipt from 1949, supposedly confirmed by Truman and Eisenhower, lists a single deposit of 400,000 metric tons of gold. Now, to put that into perspective, that is more than double the amount of gold ever mined in the entire history of humanity. The new documents, the ones from 2023, they keep referencing these old assets, like this one, a 500 trillion USD backup cash seed capital that they claim was set up way back in 1948.
And just when you think the numbers can't get any bigger, they do. A document from 1976, which is supposedly connected to the U.S. Treasury, lists a contract value of over $64.6 quadrillion. That's a quadrillion with a Q. It's a number that barely feels real.
So when you see it all laid out like this on one slide, the scale is just staggering. Hundreds of thousands of tons of gold and cash values climbing into the quadrillions. This is the financial bedrock that this entire incredible claim rests on.
So after all that, we get to the final and maybe most crucial question. Why? What is the whole point of controlling this unimaginable amount of wealth? Well, the 2023 documents are actually very specific about this.
According to the papers, this is not about personal enrichment. The official mandate is to use these assets to fuel a massive investment program, and the profits from that program would then be funneled through the African Finance Regulatory Authority to fund global humanitarian projects. So there you have it. We've just walked through the entire narrative presented in these source documents. It's a story rooted in royal lineage, backed by secret post-war pacts, detailing a fortune beyond all comprehension, and all with the stated goal of helping humanity. It's a complete, elaborate story on paper, which leaves us with one final provocative thought. What is the bridge between a story written in a trust file and a reality that's actually recognized by the world's financial systems?